Welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
And this is episode 103.
103.
Now, we originally were going to do just animal movies, but Jeremy and I got on the kick and we thought, why not do dog movie sequels? Because we did 102 Dalmatians in our last episode.
It's true.
Right?
We did.
So we originally were going to do something else, but we decided, I don't want to do that. And you were like, I don't want to do that either. And you know what? Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
Sometimes you just change your
It's
mind.
our prerogative.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you just are Bobby Brown and it's your prerogative. So, in honor of our dog sequels, we are doing Beethoven Second.
Beethoven Second.
So we are doing Beethoven Second, of course, starring the great Grody himself, Charles Grodin.
Grody.
I love me some Charles Grodin. I love Charles Grodin.
I know
big fan of his. And Bonnie Hunt are reprising their roles. I'm going to assume those kids are the same kids. Are they the same kids from the first movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And all the kids. I don't know if it's the same Beethoven dog. I don't know.
I would assume so. I don't know.
So. We don't know. We'd have to look that one up.
It doesn't really say who played Beethoven.
No, it really doesn't, does it?
No. Sometimes you get that where they'll say Beethoven was played by Cheesecake.
Obviously, Beethoven, the first one, was written by John Hughes. So Beethoven is actually a John Hughes movie, if you think about it. This movie was produced by Ivan Reitman, not directed by Ivan Reitman, but produced by him.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Rod Daniel. Now, Rod Daniel, you might know as the director of Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
So there's interesting there for you. So this isn't the first kind of hairy situation that Rod Daniel has been involved in, you would say.
Harry.
This movie also was written by Lynn Blum or Blum, B-L-U-M, like Plum, but Blum. I'm gonna or Plum. And he directed, or I'm sorry, he actually also wrote like Meatball Stripes, and so that's where you get the Ivan Reitman.
Yeah, I can see that.
And also the Pink Panther remake.
Yeah.
So there you go. And the information we got about this movie, there's a little bit of information. You said because this movie has, you would say, a child actor that would later on do a sitcom, that 70s show.
Yeah, the Danny Masterson is in this. Ooh. But I guess I didn't realize that Danny Masterson is
an asshole. Yeah.
Yes, I realized that one. No, his brother is Christopher Masterson, who played the eldest brother on Malcolm on the Middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not realize that they were brothers.
But when you think about it and you look at their faces, you're like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Well, okay, so in this one, Danny Masterson actually had a role. He plays a character named Seth. And so he had a fairly sizable part. It's his first movie. And it was set to be Christopher Masterson's first movie as well. He was, I don't know, just something with a bit part, but he was in it.
Probably.
And as the directors were watching the movie in playback, they were like, God, those guys really look pretty similar. Like they have similar facial structures and whatever. They're like, I guess I never thought about that. And so they like approached them and asked them, and they were like, are you guys brothers? And they were like, yeah, is that a problem? Well, yeah, we don't want people to think that the characters are related. And so they ended up getting rid of Christopher Masterson because Seth had too many roles or too many lines. And so they got rid of the bit part instead and recast it.
Oh, okay. So that's stupid.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Yeah. This movie came out in 1993.
They fired Sean Penn, by the way, for the same reason on this movie.
They didn't fire Sean Penn.
He had a bit part, but they were like, I'm sorry, we already have Chris Penn. We need to...
Yeah, okay. Chris Penn's in it. I was going to say, not Sean Penn, but Chris Penn. Like Jeremy said, Chris Penn is also in this movie. He is the brother of Sean Penn, also the brother of Michael Penn, you might know as the composer of the song No Myth. What if I was Romeo in black jeans?
Oh, really?
That guy is Sean Penn and Sean Penn's other brother.
Did not know that.
Yep.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, learn something new every day. 1993, this has a 4.9 rating on IMDb. You can watch this movie on Hulu if you want. You can also watch the first movie on Hulu and Beethoven's third on Hulu if you want to get all crazy and wild, and if you're a Judge Reinhold fan.
If you want to watch the fourth, the fifth, his Christmas special, Beethoven Rides Again, or whatever it is, and then Beethoven's Treasure Tale.
Oh my God, that's way too many.
Then you'll have to find them at your local Blockbuster, Hollywood Video.
Time Machine, that one.
Hollywood Video.
No.
Captain Videos.
No. Mr. Movies. I don't know.
Mr. Movie.
Well, sure. We are part of the No Phony Podcast Network. It is a podcast network full of misfits and independent creative artists that are bringing some of the best podcasts out there that are, I would say so, that money can't buy. Because you can't buy money.
Indeed.
I mean, you can. You can buy like coins that have presidents' faces on it, but why would you?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Why would you? It is No Phony Podcast.
Ooh.
What'd I say?
I don't know. You got it. You got it.
I mean, all different types of podcasts.
Yes.
You have, our podcast.
We have comic book podcasts. We have sketch podcasts.
Sketch podcasts.
Political podcasts. Music. True crime.
Game shows.
Yeah. We got all sorts of stuff on here. We have a fairly newer one, Brooke Reading Podcast.
Sure.
Which is delightful. So reading and discussing favorite books.
Mm-hmm.
Check them out. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to remember what they said the book they're just starting is going to be, but yeah, it sounded very interesting. I love the premise of that. And so, and then of course there's our featured podcast of the month, which is The Rant with Herman James and Friends.
Yes. So check them out. I love Herman James.
Yes.
His podcast. I've listened to it quite a few times and I've enjoyed it. We want to give a shout out to J. Ray, who recently announced that he is going to be a father.
Yes.
Yes. So congrats to J. Ray of Politics for Dummies and just the forefront person.
Politics with Dummies.
Politics with Dummies. I know I'm a dummy when it comes to like titles. I'm not really good at it. Sorry, J. Ray. But and he's also he's the guy that really kind of puts the glue into No Phony Podcast Network.
Yeah.
So congrats to him and him staying up all night when that baby comes to
well, he manages us, so he ought to be used to dealing with babies.
But back to this is a good segment. Speaking of babies, puppies are a big part of Beethoven's Second. And we'll get to that in a moment. But first, Jeremy, did we have a plot synopsis for Beethoven's Second?
I do have one here.
Yeah, let's read that sucker. Yeah.
Beethoven is back, and this time he's bringing the kids. It's the further adventures of the Newton family and their lovable, lumbering pal, Beethoven. In the second symphony of the Beethoven saga, our hero meets Missy, the Lady St. Bernard of his dreams. Unfortunately, they are soon separated by Regina, Missy's hateful owner, who is using her as a bargaining chip in an ugly divorce. But love finds a way, and the result is 4 adorable roly-poly puppies. The prospect of 4 valuable purebred pups appeals to Regina's greed, but the Newton kids come to the rescue and bring home the cuddly canines. Now, if they can just convince Dad to adopt the huge, messy bundles of joy, mission accomplished. But Missy is still in Regina's evil clutches. Will Missy, Beethoven, and their puppies ever be reunited? And will Regina finally get what she deserves?
Wow. That's crazy. That was a wonderful plot synopsis.
No.
Missed a few subplots, but that's fine. We'll talk about those. But that's crazy.
Well, yeah, it doesn't need to be every subplot.
No, I know that, but I'm just talking about the kidnapping and the vaguely almost girl getting sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, there's that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, that wasn't really fleshed out very well.
No, but we're fine. So, where to start in this movie? I would say we're going to start from the beginning, and basically, we see the Newton family, and you know, they're the typical, you know, American family. They've got 2 daughters and 1 son. The 1 son is played by the kid from the dorky kid with glasses from Step by Step. I don't know his name.
Yes,
I call him Dorky Kid.
Ted Newton.
Well,
I'm sorry, Christopher Castile.
Yeah, I'm talking about the actor's name.
Yes.
Yeah, Ted Newton, which is a great name. Ted Newton.
Fig Newton.
Fig Newton.
Christopher Castile.
Yes. So you might know him from Step by Step, and then there's the younger daughter, who is Emily, right?
Yes. Emily.
And then the older daughter was Rice.
Rice. R-Y-C-E. Rice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I didn't quite get what they were saying sometimes, but yeah. And these are the original kids from the first movie.
Yeah, to my understanding.
Yes, from what I understand. I was just seeing bits and pieces of the first movie. Like Charles Grodin getting mad. Like, I think he was giving Beethoven a bath or something, maybe in the first movie. I don't know if that happened.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's what I've seen, but not a lot. And they're kind of going around their business because they're used to Beethoven now. They've domesticated him, and he's fine. But this is pretty much kind of the first 10 minutes of this movie are through the eyes of Beethoven, and Beethoven wanted to get lucky.
Well, he's just at first he just wants something to eat.
Yeah, of course, and to screw.
Well, yeah, I mean he's got all those biological impulses going.
Right. So everyone goes off to their respected, places of employment or education where they go, and Beethoven sneaks out, which is I thought that was kind of clever. He just sneaks out through a window that he's just kind of has loose instead of a dog door.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of rummaging through the park and kind of going. It's all from his point of view. So the camera and the credits are kind of rolling too.
I like that it's not because a lot of times you get these movies and he's running amok with the family in the house, or like when he gets outside, he's terrorizing the neighborhood, and none of that is happening.
No.
He's a well-behaved dog. He's part of the family. Like, they're fine.
Yeah, and I like that, and I also like that this movie wasn't. Oh well, we've come to love Beethoven, but then Beethoven starts acting up again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad we didn't just go that route and then rehash like a movie that we had before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I kind of was okay with that. You don't really get a lot of exposition from the first movie, and nor do you need it, I would say.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of you don't have.
No.
Which is fine. So Beethoven is out on the prowl, trying to get something to eat first.
Yes.
And then he sees, what's the other dog? Missy? Yeah. Who's another Saint Bernard, who he's like, ooh.
Yes.
Hey, lady.
And she's honestly a very pretty dog.
Very pretty dog.
Like for a Saint Bernard, like sometimes Saint Bernards are really jowly and drooly and stuff. And have those like red eyes. Sure. She does not. Very pretty dog.
Yes. And her owner, because her owner is played by Kevin Dunn, who you might know from Veep and just from any other freaking show. He's one of those character actors that you're like, that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. And he, oddly enough, was not credited in this movie.
He wasn't credited in this movie?
No, they don't even put. He wasn't even in the credits.
He's not important, but to move the plot along.
But he has his character even has a name,
right?
And he's not he's not even in there. I mean, he plays Brillo.
That's kind of...
Oh, Beethoven was played by Chris.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Chris the Wonder Pup, or whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
I don't know. So they end up falling in love, but that's when his Brillo, I guess is his name. That's weird. Like the Brillo pad? Like Brillo pads?
Brillo.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And that I guess he's going through a nasty divorce with Regina.
Which seems weird. I don't know. It almost just seems like
because we go into a different movie all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I'm like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things this movie suffers from is it's like, and I mentioned this to you, it seems like, again, it's written very episodically, like these should be like little, this would be like a TV show, and these are like all the individual episodes.
Sure, like 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah, that are crammed together, because sometimes it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And like you feel it like in chunks of the show.
Yeah, in fact, you can describe this in chunks. You can say, okay, we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about these scenes, and then these scenes.
Yeah.
And it could be like you said, 6 different movies, or 6 different like episodic kind of, like a TV show or whatnot. So, yeah, because like at this point, like we haven't had that much dialogue from our main characters, right?
Right.
Just a lot of like running around. Oh no, we're late. And then we get like the bulk of it, like 5 minutes into the movie with Regina and her boyfriend and the divorce that's going on and capturing their dog and the love of like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Brillo is in the park.
And so I'm like, what the hell? What? In Tartunia, I go, are these like the Beethoven movies?
This is what this is like.
Is this what it is? It just follows him? Because that's just Benji, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, okay.
Well, so Brillo he has Missy in the park with this big pink bow on her head.
Missy is played by Deborah Mazar.
Missy's the dog.
Not Missy. So, well, yeah, okay, sorry.
Take that. I was wondering what that was.
Sorry. That was me dropping the plot. And I do apologize for that. I don't know what that was. I'm talking about Regina. I'm sorry. Regina is played by her.
Yes. Regina is played by Debbie Mazar.
Okay.
And Missy, she shows up like in the park. Brillo is like, hey, let's get strawberry ice cream. One for me and one for Missy. And then when Beethoven shows up, he's like, well, one more for him too. That's fine. So he gets ice cream for both of them. Debbie Mazar shows up. Regina shows up.
Yeah.
And is like, give me that dog. The judge said that you owe me so much money, like $52,000.
What?
So I get the dog and gets to stay with me in the apartment until you cough it up. And I'm like, so were you two married?
Yeah. Don't know that. I don't know.
I don't feel like they were ever married, but
I don't
they're
know.
just saying.
We don't know if they were. We just know that the judge has granted her money.
Yeah.
That he owes her.
Well, and then I was trying to figure out, like, through dialogue, was it like a scheme? She married him and then divorced to like get his money, or?
Well, it kind of seems like it, because it seems like she's with like the Chris Penn character, right? Like it seems like
she's with Floyd.
She's with Floyd, so it seems like, I don't know if they're just running like
they're running a
honestly
scam.
Like, this is what you're building your plot. Like, your plot is anchored on this kind of to and fro from that. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So that kind of suffers through the movie.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel more that she's just holding the dog ransom. It's not like part of the, because she's like, let's get out of town, and they're gonna like take off later on. So I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's like they've kidnapped the dog, but they haven't, because the judge
and they
is
don't
legally
live that
allowed.
far away.
Yes,
everyone lives within running dog distance.
Well, yeah,
from each other.
Well, so Beethoven manages to track down where Missy is,
right,
and then Missy escapes with Beethoven.
Right,
she simply jumps off the little porch.
Right, because you don't think about, I'll just put the dog on the porch. And not tear,
well, she's taller than it anyway, so she just leaps right over, onto this.
But you had like a chain.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you? I'll just put her out there. If this is like what you're banking your $52,000 on is this dog, wouldn't you have it chained up like all the time?
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay. Then just say.
But she talks about how she hates dogs. She thinks they're terrible, but she needs to do this to basically use it for leverage.
She hates dogs, yet she's with Sean Penn. Or not, Chris Penn, I mean.
Chris Penn.
Or Sean Penn.
It's hard to tell. So the dog runs away. Missy runs away with Beethoven. And they stay out all night.
Oh, it's a love affair. I mean, it's like we're watching a romantic movie.
Yeah.
With two dogs.
But you know what though? Like they do
sweet.
it in a cute way though.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like
it was sweet. It's not like it wasn't. Sometimes you have these movies where it's like
gimmicky.
ultra goofy.
Yeah.
But like they go to like the drive-in movie and he like finds her popcorn like from somebody's thing or out of the trash or something.
But he's just awesome. But they're watching Diner, the Joe Dante classic Diner, or not Diner.
No, Diner. Matinee.
Matinee. I'm sorry. Yeah,
you're fine.
Yeah, sorry.
They're watching Matinee.
That's the Barry Levinson classic. Diner.
Yeah. Wrong prolific director.
With Kevin Bacon, who was in Footloose with Chris Penn. 6 degrees. Boop.
There you go.
All right. That's what I was thinking. I think that's why I got confused.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, it totally was. Look, I saved it, didn't I?
You did.
So now it's their love affair.
Yes.
And they're going to get it on.
So then Beethoven and Missy fuck.
And also, like, they are on a romantic date set to the love tones of Dolly Parton and whatever. Like that song.
Yeah.
That love song with Dolly Parton.
Yeah, it's actually, hold on.
I was like, is that... Well, first I thought, is that Dolly Parton and Peebo Bryson or like something like that? Like, it just sounded like very... like a Disney late 80s, early 90s, which I guess... You know, but this is Universal
Yeah,
Pictures.
I can't remember who it was. I thought I
Well, it's
had
Dolly
it here.
Parton, but I can't remember who else it was with that. And that's okay. That's besides the point. So, obviously he gets Missy pregnant, and Missy has puppies. And what I don't understand is like when Beethoven takes her back, he takes her back to the same like condominium that what's her face is Regina,
Like the same apartments.
the same apartments,
Yeah.
but like hides her in the storage room.
Yeah.
How'd you get in that storage room?
Well,
I don't understand.
Well, yeah, because it's got like you need like a remote or something to get into
I
it.
know, but
So does he now have a remote?
who knows?
But part of what but I mean, think about it though. They're hiding her in plain sight because apparently Floyd or whatever his name is has looked everywhere for her and can't find the dog. And so
This is the key to my $52,000.
Yeah. And
What?
they, they're hiding right there. But of course the dopey, janitor guy from the apartments
Right.
is like, hey, your dog is hiding down there.
Right.
And so he goes to show her. And of course, the meantime, the Newton kids find they follow Beethoven because Beethoven's been sneaking out.
Right. They're like, ooh.
Yeah, they think he has a
I
girlfriend.
think Beethoven has a girlfriend.
Yeah, so they go and track him down, and they find out that there are puppies. There's 4 puppies, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like he's had puppies, and so they're so cute.
They got
they're
into that
ogling.
storage unit too.
And then they see the people like they see Regina and the janitor come in there. They're like, "Well, where are they?" And so they're trying to keep the dogs quiet when all the puppies.
Can I ask, how long did you think they were down there for?
Well, it said 10 weeks.
10 weeks, right?
Yeah.
10 weeks you were down there. During that whole time, 10 weeks you're down there. I'm just saying, when they left, when they eventually leave, right? No poop. Everything's like perfect, spotless. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, if Beethoven can sneak in, maybe he's sneaking out with
the poop.
No, with
He's
the
sneaking
poop.
with the poop.
Sneaking her out to poop.
To poop. I'm just saying, like with four puppies.
Well, they were really new.
Yeah.
Because they weren't even old enough to not be nursing yet.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, he's sneaking out the poop, a la like Shawshank Redemption, when he's like, oh, I gotta sneak out the dust from the hole that I'm building in the my wall, through the courtyard of Shawshank. Oh, here's some dog poop. And I don't know why all of a sudden Jimmy Stewart was in Shawshank Redemption, but go with it, people. It's the way it works sometimes.
So, gestation period of a dog's about 63 days.
Okay. You looked this up. You had to look it up while I was doing my Jimmy Stewart as in Shawshank. You looked up.
Yeah.
The dog thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved it.
Get busy living or you get busy dying. So if that was the day that she got pregnant, then the puppies would be around 2 weeks old.
About 2 weeks.
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, not very long. So they take them home, and they decide that they want to hide them though from their parents because
okay. So they're at the place. Regina's like, "Ew, puppies!" And so she grabs. She grabs Missy because that's the only one that she wants.
I don't care what you do with those puppies. Drown them.
Yeah, she goes, get rid of them. God. And he goes, well, I'd have to pay to take, for like a animal place to take them. So like, what should I do? And she goes, who said anything about that? She goes, just drown them. At which point you looked over to me and went, you said Cruella de Vil wasn't that mean.
No.
And I was like, it's true.
It's true. She at least wanted to recycle the dogs.
Hey, she was going to use, I assume, every part of the poop.
Right. She wasn't just going to just toss them aside.
Yeah, she was going to use them for something.
This is a real villain.
Oh my God, could you imagine the St. Bernard parkas?
What's that?
The St. Bernard parkas that Cruella could get.
Jesus. Don't give Disney an idea, would you? Okay. So where are we at? They take him home and they're hiding from their parents. And
so the kids sneak him out.
All the kids know. Yeah,
almost get Regina. She sees the kids. That's how she knows who they are. But then, the janitor convinces her to go back because he's like, they're purebred puppies. Why don't you sell them for big money? And she's like, I hadn't thought of that. Like,
well, money? Yeah.
Yeah, money. I like money. I'll do it.
You know me. I like money. Yeah. So
is what she says.
Is what she says. Yes. Yeah. Sure. I sold Little Man Tate the same way. She was in Little Man Tate.
Anyway. She was. Thank God. I was waiting for one of us to have a Little Man Tate reference.
Not only a Little Man Tate reference, but a Little Man Tate joke where you're actually selling Little Man Tate, like on the black market. That's the one. That's the joke you want on a podcast.
Shot. That is the one you want.
That's what we deliver for you, folks.
That's what we were waiting for.
That's what we want. That's what we need. All right? Yeah. Stick with Dancing with the Stars. Okay. Anyway. So the kids take them home, and there's a big montage of them trying to help grow the puppies. They're staying up all night, and then
because they won't eat because they were too young. They haven't really been properly weaned yet or anything.
Can we go back just 1 second?
Yes.
Way back in the movie at the beginning, the younger kid is getting picked. I just need to say this because this is just something that's interesting. The younger kid's getting he's playing baseball, and the kids are picking their team. He gets picked last, but one of the captains is played by Brian Krakow. I just had to say that because Brian Krakow shows up in this movie for 2 seconds, and you're like, Brian Krakow
of My So-Called Life.
Of My So-Called Life. Anyway, let's go back. All right.
What's that actor's name?
Devin Gumbel.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you.
There you go.
That I know that. You're welcome, folks. That's the kind of guy.
That's the kind of hard hitting.
That's the kind of podcast that you're gonna get. You're gonna get jokes about Little Man Tate being sold on the black market and Brian Krakow jokes.
You're welcome.
You are welcome. So it's a montage of the kids staying up, and then they're having a hard time at school. The older kid's she's taking days off of school without her parents knowing.
Well, she forged a note.
Right, she forged a note. So they're staying up. And then so there's a montage of that. And then they're one of her teachers says, "Hey, what's wrong with Rice? Because she's missing a lot of class." And she's like, "What? Well, I'll have to have a talk with her." And so she goes and talks to her, and immediately, like, they're like, don't tell the parents. Pinky swear, right?
Yeah.
And immediately she, like, cracks. You know, she tells them right away. Beethoven got a girl pregnant. We're helping raise all 4 puppies. There's 4 puppies in the basement. And all Bonnie Hunt. By the way, that's Bonnie Hunt. We forgot to say that's Bonnie Hunt, right?
Yes.
Underused in this movie.
Who apparently was a pill during this whole thing, too.
What do you mean?
People said she was terrible.
Really?
During the filming.
Really?
Yeah. Which seems out of character.
That seems really out of character. I like Bonnie Hunt. Anyway, but that's besides the point.
Well, I read there was two issues with this, too. Like, the cast did not gel as well as they did, like, in the previous one. Because Bonnie Hunt was having whatever kind of issues. Okay. Like, she was not having a good time with this, and so it was kind of, like, weighing on people. Sure. And unfortunately, Chris Penn was dealing with some drug use issues at that time, too.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So, so their mom knows, and all she says is, "Don't tell your dad."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then we get a nice scene at the supper table where they're all eating, and all of a sudden you hear all these noises that are coming from the basement, dog noises.
Well, the puppies at first started barking.
Yeah. And again, like how long did you think this charade was going to last, people?
Yeah.
I mean, there are 4 puppies that are in your basement.
Well, they hadn't barked up to now, so they're probably okay. Well, and
go ahead.
And I thought it was an okay thing. Like, of course, they're doing the whole, like, making sounds or talking a little louder or trying to cover it up, which is normal, fair. But there was one time that, like, the puppies bark and then Beethoven barks and then goes, like, makes this, like, cute little, like, whimper sound, covering it up. And I was, like, adorable. Yeah. I thought that was cute. Yeah. I like because, like, Beethoven, in not a cartoonish way, like, he's interacting with the family.
Yeah.
As just a very straight up, like, dog who's smarter than your average dog, but, like, dog kind of way.
For the most part, like, and I told you, we talked about this. For the most part, this movie isn't really cartoonish. There are moments, which we'll talk about, that are, but I kind of like that it's not. Like, it restrains itself when it needs to restrain itself, except for one fucking moment that pisses me off.
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that. So George goes down the steps, finds out that there's 4 dogs, and he goes, no! He goes crazy.
Yeah.
But then, like, right away, just goes, I guess we're going to raise 4.
Well, no, so
4 dogs.
So it turns into a freaking mutiny, though, because that was they were like, he's like, I can't do this. We can't raise all these dogs. We can't whatever.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, you know, he's like, we have to get rid of him. And they're like, I'm not going to fucking let you. Like, it was just like, the kids are like, we'll kill you before we let you take you.
I will cut you, Charles Grodin.
I will kill you in your sleep, Charles Grodin. Like, they're like, they're not even talking to the character anymore. They're talking straight to the actor, Charles Grodin.
You think the reviews of Clifford were bad? Wait till I get all of you.
Oh my God,
Clifford. I love Clifford.
I know you do. I know you do.
My sister Shelby and I love the movie Clifford.
I know.
Not about a dog. Not about Clifford, the big red dog.
No.
Which originally I thought that's what it was, Clifford. I was like, oh, these are the dogs movies with Charles Grodin, right? And they're like, no, that's Beethoven. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I watched it. I was like, oh, okay.
Was that why you watched it? Because you thought it was Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Yeah, I thought these were the dog movies with Charles Grodin.
Huh.
But they weren't. Okay. So now we have another montage set to the weirdest needle drop since Princess Diaries 2, I would say. The one group. God, I can't think of their names right now. The hippie group from the 90s. Little Miss Can't Be Wrong group.
Oh, yeah.
What is their names? Oh, my God. The Spin Doctors.
Spin Doctors.
Yes. I've got a pocket full of kryptonite. Right? And it's a montage of just all, like, the dogs and them kind of, and Charles Grodin, you know,
they're mostly just getting messy.
Yeah, getting messy.
Whatever. Well,
a dog goes on a skateboard.
Yeah.
And
well, they name the puppies.
Oh, they name the puppies too. Yes.
And so there's like Tchaikovsky. There's Chubby.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's because he's a big. He's a chonk. He's a big one.
I thought maybe he did symphonies too, but okay.
There was Chubby
Mohawk.
Yeah, Mohawk.
Mohawky or whatever.
He's named because he has a little mohawk.
Yeah.
Chubby named because he crashed in a plane somewhere in Iowa.
Chubby Checker.
And then Dolly, who had like
Chinese Chubby Checker, which is the Asian version of Chubby Checker. Bringing that joke back. Yes. For all you people. All right. Go ahead.
But no, so they name all the puppies, and of course there's like one little cartoonish moment where it's like the puppy steps on a skateboard, but it doesn't act. It's not like overly cartoony. It's just a little cartoony.
It's not overly cartoony, but he does flip, and you can tell it's like it's one of those like moments that we're supposed to be, haha. I mean, this movie's not haha funny.
It's still a family movie,
but it's still a family movie.
Yeah, so don't like. I mean, you're gonna get some of that,
right? So is this the scene? Is this where they go to? They decide to go to where they get that free trip.
Yeah, well, so again, a subplot that just showed up earlier was that...
By the way, we're 40 minutes into the movie, and we still haven't gotten back to Regina, and you know what I mean? Like, that plot where I'm like... there was a point in the movie where I was like, are we going to go back to that?
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
I couldn't even remember. I was like, oh yeah, they're in the movie.
Well, okay, so...
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they have a... they are doing they have a business where they sell like air fresheners for sports stuff, and so they go to the bank and they're trying to get their business off the ground, and so like they have to retool and do some things, and so it's going to cost a lot of money. So they couldn't take out additional loans on their business, so they gave them the option of doing doing personal loans, and so essentially, like if their business failed, they lose their house too, and so they end up taking it because they got to do something.
Yeah.
So everything is tight. They're trying to watch their money. They don't really have much.
Do you know what you should do when money's tight? Supply 4-5 dogs with dog food. Because I think that makes sense.
Yeah, for St. Bernard-sized dogs.
At the time, they could have been like, folks, like, kids, I know that you've raised these kids, these dogs, but we got to, sell them.
They told them. They said that when they were old enough.
Oh.
Because they were still, like,
okay,
not
so that's how we lose them
in,
in 3, 4, and 5?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Which is a shame, because I was going to watch those now. No, I wasn't.
I wasn't going. But no, they...
so they get like a free stay at a lakefront
because
house.
He was like, we should do a vacation. And Bonnie Hunt's like, dope, we don't have any money.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, he talked to one of his friends who works in Velcro. Jeez Louise, sorry. Too animated with my hands.
Sorry, that was me actually undoing my Velcro from my shoes. That's what that sound was.
So he, the Velcro King or whatever, is like, hey, I have a cabin.
The Velcro King?
I don't know what it was.
Like the Polka King?
Sure.
Yeah.
But a Velcro. He said that he's not going to use his cabin for the 4th of July, so why don't you guys use it?
Oh, it's the 4th of July?
Yeah.
I didn't know what...
It is. Okay. But it's a 4th of July weekend, but we never have a fireworks montage or anything.
No. We never really see any patriotic things.
Except for the fair. The fair's kind of...
But not really. But that's not
just like a summer fair thing.
Yeah, I figured it was just like a fair that happens. Like a festival
county fair
that happens. Yeah, like a county fair.
For harvest.
So they're in... yeah, go ahead.
So they're by this lake.
Yeah. So they're, hey, they brought all the puppies there, because they can't leave them at home. So they're staying at this lakefront house. And who happens to be kind of in the distance in a different cabin, but Regina herself and Floyd.
This is where they ran to with
and we
Missy.
were like, evidently they ran to this place. And we're like, wow, that's a coincidence. Yeah. I forgot they were in this movie. Thanks. Thanks, plot.
You know what
Thanks for
else?
just showing up.
You know what else is a coincidence? The other thing that's a coincidence is that
Yes.
the boy
that like Rice has a crush on.
that has shared her first kiss with
Yes.
earlier in the film,
Yeah.
and that he seems to be, on every other girl.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna go see him while I'm here
He just happens to be there too.
because he's got a cabin up here with
Everyone
his
has
rich
a
family.
cabin.
Yeah. So she goes to see him too.
That's kind of sloppy writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's just wrap that one up. That plot line.
Yes. Do you want to wrap that plot line up?
Yeah, let's just
get that
quick
out of the way.
get through that one.
That out of the way.
Yeah.
So she, like one night they she's taking Beethoven for a walk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she meets earlier. She asks Seth to if he knows who this Devereaux kid is. Can you take me to him?
Seth is what's his face?
Danny Masterson.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the cool kid. Like he's
the nice kid.
He's
not
like
doing anything bad to you, but come on.
No, Seth is the kid who kind of
Seth is
marches to
actually
the beat of his own drum, but he's a nice kid. So it's a real reach as far as acting goes for Danny Masterson. But she's like, will you take me to Taylor Devereaux? And he kind of looks like, ugh, that kid. And she goes, yeah, my dad and I deliver firewood out to his cabin, so I can take you that way. And so he takes her over there, and he's got 3 girls like on this like pier, and he's like picking them up and shoving them in the water,
Right.
and obviously being real physical with
Seems
them.
like
and
awesome.
yeah, and so she gets hurt, and then they leave.
Yeah.
So she starts talking to Seth more. One day, she's taking Beethoven for a walk.
Yes, this is where it gets really
And like walks up
shit
to
gets real.
sees a cabin with a partying, and she looks up there, and it's Taylor, and he spots her, and he's like, "Hey, come on up." And so they tie
Beethoven.
yeah,
to,
it's like they have this like
deck.
balcony like deck that's overlooks the lake, and like the house is like right up to the water. And so they tie him to like the arm of the deck, and Taylor's like, "Hey, let's go inside. I'll show you around." And they go inside. They get up to his room, and he locks the door behind them.
Right. Meanwhile, some of his bros are like throwing beer.
Like, look at this
off.
dog, and so
Like,
they're pouring
yeah,
they're
pouring
pouring beer. Hey, dog, drink it. They're like pouring it down to Beethoven.
Beethoven gets
And at
upset.
some point, they're like, let's just start pouring it on Beethoven.
on him.
So they're pouring
Perfect.
beer after beer on this dog. Like, what a waste of fucking beer.
God, tell me about
What
it.
party are you at? And I don't know anybody who would be like, yeah, cool, just
Yeah,
dump all the
cool.
beer.
Where you got some more beer? Let's fuck with this dog some more.
Yeah.
No, it seems like the stupidest idea.
Yeah. And so,
So back up into the bedroom.
yeah, Rice
He
is like,
locks the door on her.
yeah. And he talks.
Click. Bad sign.
Yeah, but she doesn't pay attention though because she's looking out over the lake at like this beautiful view. And he was just like, "Hey, I remember that kiss. It was great." And he kind of like talks through it, and he's like, "Oh boy, you're gonna really love what happens next."
Sorry.
What the hell?
We're having so much technical difficulty.
I know.
I just dropped the plot again. Sorry.
It's fine. I know you were so shocked that it.
I was shocked. That this wasn't Danny
Yeah.
himself.
He was like, "Hey, wait a minute. Does that actually work?" No. So
I got this move from when I was in Beethoven
oh,
second.
no. And so the guy's like, "You're gonna love this," and she's like, "What?" And so she realizes what's going on.
Yeah, like he's gonna.
She goes
assault
to
her.
leave, and he's like, "Nope, I got the key."
I got the
Apparently,
key.
he's got a
Meanwhile,
key
like
to lock
Beethoven's
himself.
like getting frustrated because
Yes.
he's like, so he's pulling, and he rips
the support beam.
out to where the whole, not only the deck comes out,
Yeah,
but the whole side of where he's at, like the one kid's at, just rips the whole wall out.
yeah,
And he
because
just
it's above the deck.
falls into the water below. And I'm like, what? And we were like, what the hell?
Well, the deck is falling, and people are like, falling into the water and rolling off the deck and falling.
Did you just kill these people?
And then, but yeah, the wall flies open,
and he's just
and he goes, Wah! And you get a shot of him being sucked out the wall. It was the weirdest thing. We were like, oh my god! It was so
it was like, oh.
It was so crazy, and he goes flying into the lake.
Can I say, even though there's no point for this scene, it doesn't move the plot along. There's nothing to it. At least it didn't get public service announcement-y.
Yeah,
she wasn't all she said, "I don't drink beer." It wasn't I'm telling you, hey, you shouldn't drink beer. She didn't scold or tell them how bad they are for drinking beer.
Yeah,
she just wanted to leave.
Yeah,
well, and kind of same with upstairs. It never turned where it was preachy.
Yeah, itself.
Yeah. But it also turned on these are things that you shouldn't do, kids.
Yeah,
because bad stuff's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
So I kind of appreciated that, even though it didn't really go with the plot.
Yeah, it didn't really go in the plot. Again, it was very episodic.
Yeah, it was filler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like this was episode 4 of 6. Because now we're gonna go to a scene where we're going to the fair, the county fair, like what we talked about, and it's just a nice day for the family. And who happens to show up to the fair? But Rice is her name. Regina and
Floyd.
Regina and Floyd also show up to this with their dog.
They said they're meeting someone there, but they don't say who. I know, she said that.
Did we ever see that person?
No, she said that Brillo was going to get her the check, so I assume that's who it was supposed to be. But they never specifically say.
Yeah.
But wouldn't we then have seen him at the fair if that was what was going to happen?
I mean, we would have, unless something got cut.
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
Happening.
So now, again, it's a totally different movie. I don't know what's going on. So there's a scene where there's again the son. He has a crush on this one girl
who treated him like shit.
We'll call her Braces. Anyway. Because she has braces. What?
We'll call her. We'll call her George Glass.
George Glass. Yes, we will. And so some bully kid is like, "I'm gonna take your tickets," and he goes, "Hey, I want to see tricks that my dog does. Sit, Beethoven." Oh, hey, that's a great job.
I thought this was kind of cool.
I thought it was too,
because it's this nerdy kid who's just has this kind of creepy badass moment.
Yeah, it again doesn't move the plot along, but I actually kind of liked it. And then he says, "Watch this," and he says, "Speak, Beethoven," and he does. And he's like, "I got one more for you." And what does he say, Jeremy?
Bite him in the wiener.
Bite this guy in the wiener.
Yeah, Beethoven, bite this guy in the wiener.
Okay, so he
and Beethoven growls,
lunges at him, and he drops the tickets.
And he runs.
So then, they don't steal the dogs yet. I think they do a hamburger. No, they do a hamburger thing.
Yeah,
that hamburger.
Yeah, another. So and then the girl is like, "Oh, hi." I think she keeps calling him Tim, and he's like, "My name is Ted."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Sure thing." And so then they cut to Charles Grodin eating nachos, which I will always remember. He's just eating them and being like, "Oh my god!"
Eating fair.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, we got something for you to do, Dad. We've signed you up for this contest.
All you have to do is sit."
He's
like, "What is that?"
What? And then we go to a scene that is reminiscent of Stand By Me with the pie eating contest.
Yes.
In a fair. Where it's like the burger brawl or something.
Yeah, it's like the pet and
the
owner
pet and the owner. There's 3 contestants and 3 dogs. So it's like these actually people are character actors too. I just can't think of them right now. So
Mari Chaikin is one of them.
Yes, correct. And then there's I can't remember who the other one is.
Yeah, well, Mari Chaikin, who was in Dances with Wolves. He was a crazy commander. Yeah. He's always in things like that.
Did you say Dance Commander?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was an Electric Six reference. I'm sorry.
Yep, he's the dance commander.
He's a dance commander. Sorry. I don't know why.
I mean, that is what he played.
Uh-huh. Should have been should have been a Neil drop, but we were too soon for that one. So basically they have to eat the most burgers by 2 minutes or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So someone, I want to eat chicken. Come on, eat it, because Grody doesn't want to eat it because he's eaten so much food to begin with. And
so kids start talking shit to him, which is Charles Grodin's one weakness.
That is like Superman has kryptonite. Grodin has kids that talk shit to him.
Yeah, I mean the kids talk shit to him, and they got to keep the puppies.
Yes.
Clifford happened.
That's what happened in Midnight Run, I swear.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. There you go. So they end up winning the contest, and he has a little blue ribbon that Beethoven. Congratulations, Beethoven! Like, it's always like, congratulations, Beethoven! Like, wait a minute, George is the human.
But yeah.
But hey, I guess Beethoven.
Nobody's
won.
Here to see him.
Yeah, no one cares about Grody.
Nobody cares about Grody.
It's kind of like when they did 60 Minutes 2, when they did that on Wednesdays, and Charles Grodin played the Andy Rooney. They tapped him to be the Andy Rooney.
What, really?
Yeah, at the end of anyway, go ahead. I digress.
What?
So he would do like Andy Rooney segments. Yeah. So they would have Charles Grodin on 60 Minutes 2, which was like on Wednesdays instead of Sundays. So you know how Andy Rooney would always do the "You ever notice" those segments? They had Charles Grodin doing that.
So
on that 60 Minutes.
So Andy Rooney couldn't be bothered to do 2 of them a week?
No, he's Andy Rooney. He can only do 1. He can only bitch about coffee.
I was going to say, you cannot possibly have gone through and bitched about the price of vegetables and had that be your whole fucking week's reporting.
Grody. It's Grody, man.
I once watched an episode where Andy Rooney seriously walked from bin to bin at a farmer's market and individually bitched about each vegetable's price.
Anyway, back to the movie, Jeremy.
I suppose.
So the puppies, Regina steals the puppies from the kids.
Yeah.
Right? And you can't take them. They're our puppies. And Floyd goes and gets the dog, but the dog's missing because Beethoven saved the dog. So they go running off. The dogs escape, and they go running off.
Regina's like, I have a bad feeling. Go check on Missy, because she sees the kids. She takes the puppies. When he gets back, they're gone. So they use the puppies to track them down, like they're some sort of bloodhounds. Yeah. But yeah, and of course, there's a few hijinks as they go. Like, they break through a bridge or roll down a hill. Yeah, but nothing like too over the top.
Not really, but then when they fall through the bridge and then they get knocked down into, when the whole family's there and they get knocked over into the
that was weird.
I was like, did Beethoven and the family just kill them?
They should have.
Yeah, they should have.
Well, okay, so they managed to track down Beethoven and the puppies and Missy. And they're like, let's go get them. And so they're moving in there. And like the dog is like, okay, I'm going to defend myself. But then the Newton family shows up and they're just like, hey, put down the puppies. Don't you hurt those dogs. Yeah. And so they kind of have this little, fight. Floyd has a stick that he's using that he was going to hit Beethoven with. He's been using it to hold George at bay because he's been threatening to throw a puppy off the ledge. Well, he puts the puppy down so he can hit George. Beethoven jumps and grabs a hold of the stick and hits him in the crotch with it. So then Floyd, who's standing on this edge still, is like, whoa, 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 and grabs Regina. And they both go over the edge. And we're like, oh, they're going to fall into the river.
Fall into the river.
Nope. They fall into a little pool of mud. It can't be more than a couple feet deep.
But then that breaks.
Yeah. And
we'll get help. And then it breaks, and then they go sweeping away into the river.
Yeah. Well, at first
never to be heard from again.
At first
they killed the family, killed them.
At first I thought, because they were like, they were like, oh, you keep those dogs away from me, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we'll help you. Like, I thought it was going to be like where they all of a sudden are just like, wow, you helped us and you didn't need to. Oh, thank you. And they kind of turn over a new leaf. Nope. This little bridge or these like sticks break way and they get swept off into the river.
Weird.
But so they would have died from landing in that 2-foot pool of mud.
Whatever.
But obviously they lived because Brillo.
Yeah, obviously they did because it's 5 months later.
Yeah.
Right? Did they say 5 or 6 months or something like that? Yeah.
Grody has a dream.
Yeah, he has a dream that there's tons of puppies everywhere.
102 St. Bernards.
That should have been the sequel.
Yeah.
So,
But apparently we learned through his dream, and I don't know if he was dreaming it or if it really was true, that the business really took off.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. There's a lot that doesn't get really that answered. I don't know if we need it answered, but when you're invested in a movie, it's kind of nice to get those.
Well, I think them saying that was supposed to be
maybe.
Hey, we've done okay.
Doorbell rings. It's the owner of Missy, the guy, Brillo, and he says, "Hey, I just want you to know everything's copacetic with, and I got the dog back."
Yeah.
And there's she wants to see the puppies, and she says, "Puppies!" And all the puppies come running down the steps in slow motion. And they're holding the paintings.
Yeah, because everything's rumbling. Because those dogs are big.
Yes, and then the end of the movie. You've been dosed. Well, Jeremy, let's do our 5 questions.
Yes,
shall we?
I think we should.
Jeremy, what was your favorite part of this movie?
Oh, my favorite part. I kind of like. I don't know. Like, it's kind of tough. I kind of like seeing Beethoven on his own.
Yes.
Or like when Beethoven was with Missy and they were going around. Because it was kind of a cute montage, but not like, again, not overly cartoony, but not like boring. Like, it was just interesting. You got to convey a lot of information with like how they were reacting with one another, without necessarily having to like have them be talking or be like, I'm a serving dog, or like whatever stupidness. It was just very. I think they do a good job of portraying the dog as still being a dog, even though he's doing things that most dogs probably wouldn't do. They portrayed it in I think in a kind of okay way.
Yeah, I would say that too. My favorite is the fact that this is a family movie that you're not ashamed to watch as a family. That you can actually get around and you don't like so many of these family movies, especially the sequels. You kind of are like, ugh, this is kind of cartoonish and like kind of really, really bad. I don't think this is really bad. I think it suffers from plot elements that could have been fixed or whatnot. But I agree with you.
Well, I think it's got a little something for everyone.
It does. A little something. What's our second question, Jeremy?
Would you reboot, continue, or cancel?
This is interesting. Obviously, like you said, they wanted to make 5 movies of this because so it could be Beethoven's 5th. And I was like, is there a Beethoven's 5th? And we looked, and there's a Beethoven's 5th, and a Beethoven's Christmas special, and a Beethoven's blah, blah, blah. Can I say, cancel this, and this is what I want you to put in its place. I want a reboot of a live-action Dennis the Menace as Grody as Mr. Wilson. That's all I want. Boom.
So basically take the elements of this.
Yes.
And instead of the dog, it's
Dennis
the Menace.
It's Dennis the Menace. And I want Grody to be Mr. Wilson.
He's like 85 now, though.
But he could play Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I would say...
But cancels my episode.
Yes. I would say reboot as a post-apocalyptic... No, I'm just... I would say cancel, honestly, because like there's a point of diminishing returns
based on this movie. Like I would.
But every subsequent thing
keep going. Instead, put Judge Reinhold in it.
Well, is it the fifth one with ghosts in it?
Right.
There are ghosts and there's a treasure hunt? And a treasure hunt. What? Like, obviously, there's a
You're stretching with this.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, cancel
this movie alone, like, it suffered from plot because basically I don't think you needed a second Beethoven movie.
Probably not, no.
Yeah.
But this was palatable. I just don't think it's going to go much further than that.
Yeah. Third question.
Does this stand on its own?
I actually think it does. We talked about it, and I think the lack of exposition actually helps the fact that this movie doesn't need to rely on the first movie. If you're watching, this is your first Beethoven movie, you just are like, this is their dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's really no explanation. You don't need an explanation for someone to have a dog. They just own a dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that this movie does stand on its own.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I think it's just that rare occasion where it's like it might have suffered from the fact of the plot, making the plot better, the fact that we don't get anything, but really it's a Beethoven movie. Do we really need to have exposition?
Yeah. And we don't get a lot of like, oh no, not this again from Charles Grodin. Like,
I know, because he loves Beethoven.
Yeah.
Which is great. Movie.
Yeah. He's like, hey buddy, come here. You know, and his loves on the dog and everything. Like,
right. And I appreciate that instead of like rehashing the same thing, which I think that they tried to then recapture in the other director movie, Judge Reinhold shit. That whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Would you watch the first one?
Based on this movie alone, I kind of would watch the first one.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed. I really thought, like, I want to get more of the family, because there was times where, like, it got lost with the subplot or the weird plots with the daughter and everything, that I wanted more of just the family connection.
Yeah.
And I could see if, like, the cast was not getting along, that maybe that's why they had to do some rewrites or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I actually would watch the first movie based on this movie.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. Like, I was young when I saw it.
Give me a Grody. I like Grody, but I like when Grody shows up in So I Married an Axe Murderer. Like, he just has a cameo and you're like, Charles Grodin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like when Charles Grodin shows up and stuff.
Yeah.
Sum up your experience in 2 words.
Go ahead.
I would say bow wow.
What?
Like, it just I was surprised how much I enjoyed this film. Wow, I'm surprised.
Mine's the opposite. Mine's actually doggone, because I'm surprised I liked it for what it was. We didn't need this movie, and so I think this was a cash grab. And I don't even think it was a cash grab. I think it just was like, they wanted to make another one. And I really think, like you said, we want to make at least 5 of them to get to Beethoven's 5th.
You know that's what they're aiming for. If you're naming them Beethoven's 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I mean, so you're aiming for 5th.
Perhaps we didn't need this. Perhaps I would have liked a movie even better if, let's just follow Missy and the dog around for a day. A day in the life of those two. I don't know why, but I kind of enjoyed that a little bit.
Yeah.
And kind of like, where they're in the park and like we meet all these different people in the park, and maybe we could have had cameos of like people, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think I would have liked that better, but that's just me. But instead, we got kind of a convoluted plot that just did not mix well. And then when it did collide, we were like, what the hell is going on? And then they just killed them. So that concludes this episode, but where can people find us? We're going to leave it on that note, on them killing people in Beethoven's 2nd.
If you'd like to learn more about the deaths of these characters.
Like to learn more about having a dog at St. Bernard that kills people named Beethoven.
There you go. You can find us at thedeucepodcast.podbean.com, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, really any place that you can, most places you can, catch any kind of podcasts. You can also find us at the nophonynetwork.com, along with all of our podcast network mates. You can find us on Facebook in our Facebook group. Please join. Send a request and we will approve that. And then you can also find us on Twitter at Deuce Podcast.
So look for those social media platforms. We're going to send an invite for a survey to see, because we're going to do a listener's choice here in a few weeks. So look for that and vote which movie that you want to hear us review. That would be coming up in a few weeks. But next week we're going to do another dog movie. But until then, folks, remember, the sequel is king.